Hello guys, it's Ebird Online, and today I'm reviewing David and Lana. This is 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Season 4 Episode 13, The Pleasure Principle. So finally guys, we meet Lana. And I gotta tell you, it really is a video that I never thought I'd be doing with you guys. But just before we start, I just want to very quickly remind you to subscribe to the channel. I'm very near to my 30,000 mark, so please help to push me over the edge. And a massive thank you to all of those who have already subscribed. I really do appreciate it. And please don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. And don't forget to like and share. Guys, I'm going in. So first up, we have the pleasure of getting to know Lana. We see her working out in a gym, and we also see her shopping for makeup. And finally, we see her on a laptop in a cafe. All of the things one would need to do in order to take part in a large-scale finagling of men. And Lana introduces herself. She tells us, "My online name is Lana." Your online name? Online names are usually reserved for those of us who work online. Do you work online, Lana? Is that what you do for a living? What you really mean is your fake name, your alias, your scam name. And then she tells us she's originally from Pavlograd, but she now lives in Kiev. And producers ask her how many previous relationships she's had. And she says, "I haven't had many." That's not what her online suitors think, but I digress. And she says she hasn't been married or engaged because she hasn't met the man she wants online. So she tells us that she was single at the age of 20, so she decided to go on an international dating site, as you do. And she said she liked the profile of David, and that's why she contacted him. She says he's very witty and he makes her laugh. Wow. So guys, there's just a little something here. As you all know, I don't think it's Lana that David's been talking to. But this almost confirms it for me. She said he's very witty. Is he? Maybe it's just a side of his personality he's managed to keep hidden from us. And himself. He makes her laugh so much, she's stood him up 4 times out of 5. Interesting, very interesting. And then she tells production she dreams of going to the United States. She said she's excited about the idea of Las Vegas. She knows it's full of casinos and bright light. That's right, Svetlana. The faster David pedals on his unicycle, the brighter his light goes. And she reminds everybody, as if we'd forgotten, that the USA is a country of great opportunities. And the next time we see her, she's sitting in a cafe with a laptop and her phone rings. Who's this? Another boyfriend? I wonder if it's David. No, it's not. It's one of her friends. And she tells her friend she's meeting an American man. Meeting an American man. So not your boyfriend of 7 to 8 years. Just an American man. Interesting. Her friend immediately asks, is he wealthy? And she says that he's well paid. And her friend said, cool, maybe you'll get presents. You will, Lana. You're getting underwear from Victoria's Secret. But then a kind of weird thing happened, and the whole interview with Lana took a change for the worse. They asked, why didn't you go to meet David when he was in Pavlograd? And she said she changed her mind, so that's why she didn't go. And then they asked, why didn't you meet up with him all of the other times? And she said there are many reasons why she didn't meet up with David, but she never lied to him. Lana, you did lie to him because you got him to come all the way over to the Ukraine 4 times, knowing you weren't going to meet him before he even came. That's a lie. And then they asked her, does she get paid for speaking with men on the website? And she said no, she doesn't. And they said, why are you going to meet David this time? And she said she wants to go and meet him to see if she likes him in real life. Then she will decide how she feels about David, and she'll have a clear idea of what can happen in the future between them. I've got a very clear idea. Your money's going to be cut off. And the next time we see them, they're in that iconic square, and David is staring at Lana with disbelief. He said, I can't believe it. I can't believe that you're here. He said, I felt like I just found love. After 7 years, 4 failed visits, $10,000, a cubic zirconia ring, production getting involved, and worldwide pressure on Lana to turn up, she's finally here. Like I said, David really can't believe it. Luckily for David, he's got his translator app with him. Don't worry, David, she's bought her square reader. And he hugs her tightly as if he doesn't want to let her go. And guys, I don't know what you think about this whole thing, but to me, Lana seems a little bit nonplussed. And when production asks her, why did you come here today? She says she came because she feels that David is her soulmate. She says he looks better than she thought he would in real life. And for today, he's everything that she likes. What about tomorrow, Lana? What about tomorrow? What about when you realise that David is to sugar daddy what cubic zirconia is to a diamond? And David was like a lovesick puppy. He said nothing in the past even matters. Before, when she didn't meet me, she had reasons. Now there's no reason not to meet me. She's here, and they walk off together. And that's where we leave this couple for this week. So what do we make of this? Well, we've heard that they were engaged, and we've also heard that they've since split up, unsurprisingly. She obviously went to get the ring valued. And there's another YouTuber who's apparently been talking to Lana online, although of course we don't know if it's her or just somebody with her picture, because he didn't actually manage to physically speak to her, and she also failed to turn up when they had some sort of video meeting planned as well. But it could well be Lana, because she has a habit of not turning up, I guess. And so I guess my thoughts on it all are this. There's no mention of the work that Lana does. Also in the interview, she didn't want to answer if she'd met other men from the site. She looked extremely awkward during the interview. And of course she completely denied that she makes any money when she's talking to David on this website. But this is, to say the least, this is sinister. Nobody talks for 10 hours a day talking to one person. And I have actually been researching this and looking into it, and there's translators who basically aren't just translating. They are having the conversation with David. And I thoroughly believe this. And I actually believe that this is what has happened to David. And I also believe, because of her absolute refusal to talk to David off this website on any other app, Google Translate or something like that, the only logical conclusion that I can draw with regard to Lana's involvement in this whole sorry affair is that she's getting some cut of the money. As we saw, there were little short videos between her and David also said TLC producers had made him look stupid on purpose, because they'd ignored the fact that sometimes he does speak to Lana via video, but they were making out as if that had never happened. And whilst I know that that does happen, I know that that's few and far between. Most of the time, you're just talking on a website. And given that you've spent £100,000, that's an awful lot of money. But let's just imagine for a second that what Lana says is true. She's not making one penny off the website. You have got to be a very mean-spirited and nasty person to arrange to meet somebody in your home country and on 4 separate occasions not turn up to meet him. It's not as if he's walked down the road. It's not as if you're going to meet him at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. He's going all the way to the Ukraine. The expense, the time. Why ever would you do such a thing? As far as I'm concerned, it's a spinning out technique. If Lana said to David, I don't want to meet you, or if he kept on trying to set up a meeting and Lana kept saying, no, I can't do this date, I can't do that date, within a couple of years he would have gotten bored and said, okay, I'm going to try and meet somebody else, I'm not interested. So the best thing is to do exactly what she did, and exactly what Maria, if we remember back, did to Caesar. The first time, oh, my mother's ill. The second time you're supposed to meet, I've had to have an operation. And all of these times mean that you can continue to finagle money out of David for a little bit longer in between trips. Lana makes money trading off the misery of men like David. It's not all Lana's fault. Of course, David acted stupidly. And everyone's been in my comments saying, David's such a simp, David's such an idiot. Who would pay money to speak to Lana for so many years when she hasn't met him so many times? But I put this theory to you. I think that she got him to a point where he thought he was in love, and then she knew she could play with him. And as the saying goes, there's no fool like an old fool. And I'm not at all trying to detract from David's stupidity, but I want everybody to sit back and think of a time when somebody's taken advantage of you, or a partner's asked you to lend them money or credit in your name. A time when you've put trust in someone and they've betrayed it. This is what's happened to David. The only thing that we find utterly ridiculous is the fact that he's never actually physically met her. We all know that internet scams happen. David's a little bit of an older generation. He's 60. And I do actually think there's some validity in those who say that he's possibly less aware than somebody who's going to be 20 or 30. And until that programme Catfish came out, I didn't even know what a catfish was or the concept of catfishing. I didn't know somebody pretended to be somebody completely different. Sometimes for fun, sometimes for money. It is for older people sometimes a whole new world out there on the internet. And I think David's just got caught up in all of this. But the main point that I wanted to make is that this whole outcome is a massive shame, because the majority of these types of relationship where you're paying on a website, not just a normal dating site, but where you're paying per message, per sticker, per emoji, per video, per photo. And there is a sliding scale of what you have to pay for each thing. In the majority of these cases, the guys never ever get to meet this woman. And they'll be tens of thousands of pounds in when they decide to pull the plug on it and write it down to a bad experience. It's a well-known scam in the Ukraine and in Russia. And it's a whole cottage industry that these people are getting involved in. And so I think it's a massive shame that they've shown on 90 Day Fiance, oh look, there is a positive ending after all. He's engaged to her. He's met her. she was real after all. And for other guys in a similar situation, it just serves to say, yes, there is hope. I'm right to continue spending money getting to know this person. Because as we've all just seen, it can work out well in the end. And it's only just come to me, but this sort of scam completely reminds me of those 1990s penny trading scams, where traders would find someone that was writing code in a garden shed in Iowa and pretend that this company was going to be worth hundreds of thousands or millions in the future if you only just invest all of your life savings and then a little bit more and a little bit more, and people get caught up in exactly the same way. Once you've had a certain amount of expenditure, you don't want to pull out, otherwise every penny that you've already spent has been for nothing. These girls are real, but they're talking to 7, 8, 9 guys at a time, just like the defective detective said. And the girls usually only bother to meet up with someone if they're a proper sugar daddy. And David's, well, a splendor daddy at best. So tell me what you think. I think both of these guys are in the wrong, but I think Lana's a despicable human being, and I honestly don't know how she looks at herself in the mirror every day. It's one thing to scam somebody's money, but to waste 7 or 8 years of somebody's time is absolutely unforgivable. So please put your comments down below, and I'll be back soon with another video. If you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.